I'm waiting for it to...
I know, I'm not sure.
Mahai, welcome back to Sharing Our Stories. My name is Slim with Nani Al-Jalil, and of course, Tomas Hernandez from Tribe Recovery Homes. Our guest today is Stacy K. Syphers from Colorado, and if you're just tuning in, you're like, what is this all about? Well, Sharing Our Stories is a program about addiction and recovery. Everybody in this room has dealt with addiction to drugs and or alcohol, and we are in our recovery. And we believe that by sharing these stories, hopefully we can reach somebody out there in the Mile High who might be suffering an addiction, or somebody who has a friend, a family member, a loved one who is suffering an addiction. And maybe you can understand what they're going through a little bit more, or if you're dealing with addiction, you can say, you know what? I'm listening to these stories of other people in recovery. It's something that I want. It's something I believe I can do, and I want to go for it too. And I want to make it happen. So we like to share stories of recovery and let you know that recovery does happen. This program is brought to you here at the Merge Media Academy Studios, the 5280 Podcast Studios, and it is brought to you by Tribe Recovery Homes and Caring for Denver. And Tomas Hernandez is the CEO, the jefe of Tribe Recovery Homes. He's a very busy man. That's why he's always sitting here with 3 phones but no, this is real. This is for real. As he's helping people out, like he's actually making moves pretty much at all times. And he is a leader in the Colorado community. Him and his team, Nani, and the rest of the staff they have there, in helping people get clean, get sober, and find their recovery. I love the hat you got on today.
Thanks, man. It's a friend of mine from Compton. He's in recovery. He's got over 25 years.
For those that can't see his hat, it's a bright red hat with white lettering. It says "dopeless" on it, having no dope. Dopeless.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he made it look like a Dodgers hat.
No, I didn't bother to notice the font of the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You could care less about that part.
Yeah.
But I like the messaging of Dopeless, man.
Yeah.
How's things going? How's the expansion into Vegas going?
It's good. It's good. We got a good team out there. You know, what's great about it is I took another approach than just kind of cutting down the middle and then just creating the 2 families. Colorado and Las Vegas is working together tirelessly to get this program going, to make sure that we can hit it. Las Vegas, just like Colorado government, is really in open arms. So my ideology of marrying community to judicial agencies, to politics, to government, working hand in hand really works. I came in there with a very small budget, drove a car in there, and did exactly what I did when I first started Tribe here in Colorado, and it's worked. So
it still blows my mind that you're a guy that talks to politicians and people of high stature.
Yeah.
They talk to you and offer you hundreds of thousands of dollars to help people recover. You?
Yeah,
It's
man, I'm learning like terminology like EBITDA and all this stuff on financial stuff, and it's like...
But the most amazing people in recovery are folks just like yourself, folks that you don't judge a book by a cover, don't look at somebody and think you know who they are, because if somebody did that with you, they're going to be so mistaken to find out that you're a leader in this community of helping people get clean, man. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that. You know, the biggest thing of the listeners that are out there that they feel stigmatized, just don't let them do it. Just, you got to look in the mirror every day. I gotta see who I am. I have tattoos all over my head, my face, my body. And I'm not going to stigmatize myself. So I'm not going to let anybody else, I'm not going to allow somebody to judge me, nor do I care how they feel about me. I'm going to get down the road and I'm going to get my dreams done, because there's only one life. What else? I mean, I wasted a lot of it. I have a lot of people that depend on me. I mean, I got a wonderful life. I got a great wife. I got amazing kids. I don't just have employees. I have family. Like, Nani texts me every morning. You know what I mean? She's probably the most bubbly raised sunshine.
She keeps you working. She keeps you moving.
She texts is like, Oh, hi. The donut with a freaking sunrise on it.
Nani, how are you
You know
doing?
what I mean?
I'm doing good.
Good?
Staying really busy, staying connected to the community. Lots of really great things coming up for Tribe. Lots of events going on. We're excited. Holidays are coming.
Yeah.
So Mahi, if you ever wanted to be a guest on this program, if you want to come in and share your story, you've dealt with addiction, you're in recovery, Nani's who you talk to. Nani's who will reach out
She
to
will
you.
jump you in.
And she will give you the full rundown of what you're getting into when you come in here to speak. And she is our liaison between all of our guests in this program. So if you want to come be on the program, jump on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SOS, sharing our stories, leave us a message, and Nani will reach back to you, and you'll be sitting right where Stacy is.
Yeah.
And our guest today is Stacy K. Syphers from Colorado. And I've known Stacy for years, like over 10 years.
Yes.
Because your daughter was in high school, and you said that she's 26 now?
Yes.
And your daughter's a cancer survivor, by the way. I just want to
Yes.
start with that. She has the most amazing daughter who dealt with cancer as a child. She is fully recovered, right?
Fully.
In remission, we call
Yes,
that, right?
yes,
And
exactly.
wonderful kid. I remember as a kid, she's a young adult now. But I got to give Kennedy a little shout out.
Yeah. Hey, Kennedy.
How you doing? And I'm so happy that
Sure.
you are where you are in your life and healthy and living, Kennedy, and just living life is what I mean. So congrats, Kennedy. All right.
Yes.
So our guest is Stacy K. Syphers from Colorado. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys. I really am excited to be able to hopefully, with my story, help somebody.
Well, you know the program runs really simply. If we help one person, if we
Yes.
reach one person, if that message gets to one person out there in the Mile High, it is a success. And I firmly believe that what you have to share today will do just that. And Mile High, I want you to turn your radio up just a little bit more. If you're online streaming us, turn it up a little bit more and give your attention to our guest today from Colorado, Stacy K. Syphers. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks again. I'm super excited to be here. I do feel that, as Tomas had mentioned, like the stigma of addiction, alcoholism, things like that, because it was really, really super hard for me to tell anybody that I was an alcoholic or anybody that I was an addict. I mean, it just wasn't gonna happen, because that to me was just such a dirty, disgusting, that's what was brought in. Oh, well, he was an alcoholic, or her dad was and it just was like, that's me. And I just realized that I have to admit who I am and what I am, and that I'm going to be this addict, alcoholic for the rest of my life. Active? No, but I still am an alcoholic. If I pick up that drink, I'm an alcoholic in recovery is what I should say. I think back, I am from Delphi, Indiana, so that's a really small town in Indiana, and lived the normal Midwest life, just was a cheerleader, was just hanging out with my friends in the 80s, and I'm just having a good time drinking that Boone's Farm, that was my first time of drinking, was Boone's Farm.
Tomas just looked like he had such a
Yeah,
flashback. His eyes opened up. His eyes have been closed since we started.
Some
It
Boone's
is
Farm.
fully opened up. He was like, Boone's Farm.
That was,
Do you have a flashback to that?
That was like the fake ID thing to get
Oh,
the
yes.
girls. So they bought a bunch of
Absolutely.
Boone's Farm
Oh.
and Purple Passion so they could get drunk too.
Purple Passion, Tickle Pink,
Is that like
all
Mad
that.
Dog 2020?
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, that's,
oh, that,
yeah.
yeah, Big Mouth Mickeys, you name it.
Yeah.
So, I think that was my first experience with drinking, was in high school, just casually partying and stuff. But I should have known at that time, like most young girls, that something wasn't quite right with me, because I also was starting to have an eating disorder. Went hand in hand. I don't know what the correlation is, medically, but that was something that was happening to me. So I tried to get a grip on all of that, and I wanted to leave my small hometown to see the world, so I joined the military. And I am 100% service-connected disabled. through the VA, and that is quite a feat to get a service connection. So I had some pretty nasty things happen to me in the military, you know, and so when I left at 18, I was grandfathered into, Colorado had the grandfather clause where you could drink 3-2 beer or whatever. Nobody ever checked, you know, but we could drink at 18. You didn't have to be 21. So, I mean, I went from some bad things happening even through basic training into my first duty station was Lowry before it changed and is now Buckley. And so we could drink there, and I did. And it was something that was comforting to me, and something that I could forget some of the things that happened, but then more things kept happening. And I used to blame myself for that, like many women do. I'm doing something wrong, I'm asking for trouble, you know, whatever happened. But now that through the different recovery programs that I've worked, I realized that it wasn't my fault. I really truly was a victim, which I don't like to think of myself as a victim because that just sounds so helpless. But part of me is a victim. I had things happen to me that I couldn't stop. I had things happen to me that no matter what I wanted to do to make it not happen, there wasn't that avenue for me to be safe. So I went overseas, and again, this is back in the Gulf War. So I'm aging myself quite a bit. Or Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
I'm right there with you. It's okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
We're right there. We're right together.
Yes. I ended up having I was finding myself, again, here comes this creeped up, this eating disorder again. And I was really sick. And I think it was my cry for help, like, can't you see that now that I can look back at it, can't you see that I need help? Like, I don't know, because I couldn't say the words because I felt like nobody was listening to me. So I think destroying or hurting myself was one way that I was hoping that I could be seen that way. So with that being said, I ended up getting out of the military with an honorably discharged. Luckily, never had any major problems in the military or got in trouble in the military. I just was kind of swept under the carpet, and hopefully, you know, she'll get out, and I did. So I fought really long and hard with the VA for being 100% service connected, disabled, not because I like the word disabled, but because it is the truth. And sometimes we have to take what other people judge us as when they don't know anything about what has happened. So after the military, you're pretty lost. I was pretty lost. I was like, I don't know really what I'm doing. I'm back in the Midwest, which is where I wanted to leave from. And I found myself getting into some really shady, working at a bar, just kind of walking around in a bikini, and, because that's just what I could do for fast cash at that time. I've never really, totally admitted this, but making money, thank God, and I'm not judging strippers, but I didn't get to the point where I was stripping. I didn't get to the point where I was selling my body, and I thank the Lord for that all the time, because at that point I started to do cocaine, because it kept me skinny. And there's going to be a lot of people that can't believe the story, but I was doing cocaine, and I was on a bunch of mental health medicines that they had given me after the military, and I ended up going to my first rehab. After my first rehab, I got out, was doing really well, was working at a location back in Indiana, met who I would marry and have my beautiful girls, Kennedy and Kerrigan. Absolutely just the joys of my life. In the military, I had Nicole, so I have 3 daughters. Nicole, who's going to be a psychologist, Kennedy, who is a cancer survivor and has a titanium rib cage. So they literally took her ribs out and put a titanium piece in. I have Kerrigan, who just got married to Louie and just got to be her massage therapy degree. So those 3 girls are doing great. And all the mess up as I was as a mother, somehow those children made it because I put them through hell. And I know that unintentionally. I know it was not easy for them. So then I have a son also, which will come a little bit later, but he's at University of Mariana baseball and academic scholarship. So, you know, I am very grateful that my children so far are staying on the straight and narrow and have not been in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes children that come from such broken parents and such misguided and unaware as I was, they could have very easily fell into that. But I think part of me knew that I needed to keep them straight. So I came back to Indiana, as I mentioned, and went into my first rehab, got married. Terrible when you are codependent, so marriage failed, and I came to Colorado and was completely sober. So I have been sober up until my latest relapse, almost 13 years sober. So 13 years completely sober, not even communion wine. You know, like, no, we are sober, and we're gonna be sober. I was sober through Kennedy's diagnosis and through all of the stuff that happened with her and her cancer journey. 6 weeks after Kennedy was diagnosed, my father was diagnosed, full cancer, was gone a couple months later. While my daughter was in treatment here, I'm flying to Indiana to say goodbye to my 60-year-old dad, still sober. 2 years later, my mom had a glioblastoma, 61 years old. That's a brain cancer, for people that might not understand that. Terrible disease, terrible. And all 3 of these cancers are non-family related or history related. You know, they're all different. So I'm sitting here thinking, what in the heck is going on with our family? Like both my parents are gone, but my daughter's doing well, still sober. So I think what happened is that my ego got to me. I think I felt like if I can stay sober through all that,
You're good now.
I'm fine.
You're good.
If I did not drink or try to jump off the building, and I mean that in all honesty, because
Yeah.
afterwards I thought about being on the highest rise and just taking a leap, I'm fine. So it happened here in Denver, and I went to a piano bar because I just went with some friends that came from out of state, whatever, and I wanted a glass of wine. And from that glass of wine, however many later that night, the very next day I was drinking vodka and ginger beer.
Just like that.
After 13 years of being sober, I relapsed in 1 second. That 1 second that I decided that I am fine, I am strong, I can have a glass of wine. What is a glass of wine? Well, the glass of wine was damn near at the end of my life. Because about a year later, I'm standing in the snow without any shoes on, a little sundress with my gun, and I was standing out in a cornfield and ready to end it all. So that's how quickly things can change. I'm not saying that everybody that relapses goes to that extreme, but it happened to me. And so I was 100% out of my mind, suicidal, depression, anxiety, so on and so forth. So 3 years ago, well, in 2020, so the year of the pandemic, I went into Harmony, a treatment center in Estes Park. So I went in the end of March. Well, during that time, the whole country shut down. We didn't know. I was to be there 30 days. I was there for much longer because I needed that extra help. So the whole country shut down. When we all, so I can't imagine the other people, came out, there was no meetings, in person. There was no being able to have coffee with somebody if you needed to talk because you just straight out got out of rehab. There was nothing. It was all done online. And where I live up in northeastern Colorado, our service is not that great as far as for internet and things. Shady, spotty. So I would get so frustrated, like I just want to talk to somebody, like I just need somebody to talk to. So I realized that that wasn't going to be an avenue for me, so I needed to find self-help books. And I don't really have one that I can say is like the go-to. But things about your goals, goals of what you have, because I needed to look to the future. Because what the problem was with me is I never let go of the past. As cliche as that sounds, I never let go of the past. So I would bring it up all the time. I did this. I had 2 failed marriages. I had, all of these things that were just so awful in people's eyes, but it brings me to where I'm at today. So I think that by finding avenues that I could do on my own at that point, because I could not have one-on-one or person contact, worked for me. And people will say, you definitely need to have, and I am not ever bashing any kind of program, because I've been to those programs and different programs that are available, and they work. But when they're not available to you at all, how can something work when you can't even find a place to have a meeting? Mm-hmm. So I believe also, in addition to the programs that are available to addicts and alcoholics, is that you can do things on your own if that's what has to happen for that time. I made it through that time that we couldn't. Our country was shut down. So after that, I decided I got onto the Zoom calls, and I was able, when we could go to the library and use the library access and things like that, and that really, really helped. So with that being said, I think that I would like to just share with people that if they're in a really safe, they feel like they're in a really safe and good place. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I can tell you that in 1 second, that can change. You're not completely sober forever if you're not working that program, or that you have to fight for it. And that sounds extremely rough, I guess. And that's not what I'm trying to say. You have to fight for it, because the demons of this disease, and with the addict and with pills, it was pills that were prescribed to me. I had pain medicine that was prescribed to me. Well, I knew exactly what to say to the doctor to get more, because they made me feel good. So, I liked that, and that was something that was comfortable to me. So I know for a fact that when I thought I was safe, I wasn't. And when I thought that I was in control, I wasn't. And how quickly it went from the glass of wine at the piano bar to me standing in my yard with a gun to my head. The disease for me takes me into an absolutely horrible place. It's not being numb from something that happened anymore. It's, I have a hold on you. I have a grip on you.
So what does your recovery look like today? So like past COVID, past the self-help books, what does that look like today? How did you get to where you're at today to keep that ball rolling? Yeah, that's the question I'm sure the listeners are biting their nails at right now.
Sure. So with where I live, and there are not meetings available, there are online Zoom calls where you can be in a meeting.
Okay.
And be in a meeting with people that you can then be in the same meeting, and go, which is what I did. It was one that was extended from my EOP for Harmony.
Okay.
Once I could get that But that is exactly what I needed to do.
That's awesome.
And over,
Harmony's a good program. I've toured it many times, and I remember I used to joke with the CEO that I was going to steal the big black rhino out of
Yes.
there. They have a huge rhino inside there that's extinct, and you can't sell it. You can't take it out of there. You
It's
can't
real?
transport it. Yeah, it's real.
Okay, so yeah, it's
So it
legal
used to be a
sale.
hunting lodge. So before they turned it into rehab, that thing's just basically stuck there until it burns down or disintegrates. But I was like,
yes,
I was going to try to figure out a way to.
Gonna make it your new mascot.
that
Yeah,
rhino.
I was gonna get it somehow. You just look at me. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there, listeners. But anyway,
speaking of the
Yeah.
hunting lodge, there was one day I was in rehab and I kept hearing on my window, and it was a glass window, and I had, because of PTSD and things like that, I had my own little room for night terrors and things like that as I was detoxing and stuff. And I kept hearing, and I opened my door and there was a turkey with his feathers out, and he was trying to attack himself in the reflection. In the reflection of, because I was, oh, okay, I don't know what to do. Shoo, you know, go on. I mean, he was huge. And then as I looked out, there was other turkeys there, but he had found his reflection. And then another day, which I really needed this in recovery, I opened the door and there was the biggest herd of elk that you could ever imagine. And I just stood there and watched how large they were, but how they were gliding across, because it snowed up there when I was there in April. And I looked and I thought, how majestic. Like, you know, it's those little things that you see that all of a sudden just kind of hit your heart. And so like the hunting, I can understand that's a hunting lodge, because it was just, and I was like, this massive animal, I just felt like I needed his power or something. It was crazy, but.
and the work that they do there, what they've invested in, you know, listeners, they put in $3.5 to $4 million into a detox for their patients in that building, not in the hunting lodge. It's not just a hunting lodge. It was invested in too. Harmony is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rehab. It also helps for our first responders. So if you are a first responder and you're struggling right now, please call Harmony if you need help. Do not sit there and feel like there's not a place for you. Harmony can help you, and that's the spark.
That is a great, and I can attest to it. I've been sober ever since the day I left. So, you know, now it's over 3 years. I don't take one day of that for granted, because I had almost 13 years. Why did I want that wine? Why? Part of me still has the demon inside that thinks that if you're going through a tough time or something, there's a way to numb that. It has to be that.
Yeah, you know, me being in Vegas, I always tell, like I was telling Nani and Julia when we got there, like, just remember, it's just a light bulb. There's a light switch somewhere around here. All that is just a light bulb. It's just a place with a light bulb. Don't buy into all this bull crap that's around here. We're here we have a mission. We're here to save lives.
Absolutely. And I love that save lives, because I know that there's somebody out there that is very much like me, that has tons of sobriety, you know, years of sobriety, over a decade of sobriety. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Over
It is
a
lot.
decade.
Right.
And things in the world right now are really, really hard. You know, I mean, it's hard out there. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, because I'm way opinionated, so I'm going to keep that to myself.
I do got a big question.
Yes.
Being a mother, going through all the things that you had to do, but the big question is being a woman in the military, being a vet, in recovery, what does that look like? Because there's many of you out there, and that's not a question that's asked a lot, and that's something that really needs to be asked. And
Well, one thing I can honestly say is that if there's anybody that is struggling at all that has been in the military, we all have this this pride in us that, you know, I did not believe that I had PTSD. Why would I? That's for the frontliners, that, you know, the people in battle. People can have PTSD for many different reasons. And there are people that have seen things, done things, had to work in the medical field, whatever it shall be. They have had parts of trauma in their life. And the way that I explain that, and then I'll go back to finishing that, is like, here is a ball, a perfectly round, beautiful ball I'm holding in my hand. So I'm going to set the ball down because this is the beginning of my life. And I'm going to roll the ball. And then when something happens to me, and I'm saying significantly, it goes over a razor blade. So part of the ball is gone or injured, but it's still rolling. So it's rolling again to the next trauma, to the next terrible heartache of somebody's life, to the next trauma. So you have this ball that you pick up, and all around it, it has slices in it. That never change. That'll never leave you. That is in your psyche, in your body, in your mind. Whether you're addressing it or not, it is there. Then something else happens, and all of a sudden, this ball is rolling back and forth, and all these other slices are now going for what you just had. We're gonna make it bigger. We're gonna fix it. You know, like and that's how I can explain it. So the ball of my life had tons, and from childhood, unfortunately, to the military, to the high school when it started with the eating disorder, there's a slice, to the things that happened to me in the military, there's a slice, to the abusive relationships, there's another slice, to the diagnosis of my daughter, there's a slice, death of my parents, I could go on and go on. So I'm holding this ball that's just sliced, but it's my ball, it's me, and there's a lot of light in that ball. So I did not realize that ball can hold PTSD. You know, I just didn't realize that. So there's people in the military that are out there that don't think that they're worthy, or don't think that they fit this level of getting help because they weren't frontline, whatever it would be.
Yeah.
The thing is that they can go on to va.org. Okay, and I'm not a spokesperson for the VA at all. I'm telling you what I've done with myself. They can start a claim. The day that they ask for the medical part of it is a day that they sign up at va.org. It might take a while for them to get it to go through, but it goes back to that date. They can get help. There's free resources on va.org without going through to get a, I'm so sorry, this is my brain, a percentage, to get a rating. That's what I meant to say.
This is crazy because I'm talking to you about this. I sat with, he's pretty famous. I don't know if you've heard of Brian Slate, Trauma and Triumph.
Yes, Trauma and Triumph. Yes.
I sat with him last night. I'm consulting for him in Utah. He's building a 300-bed facility for veterans.
I love that so much.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to have you meet up with him.
Yes.
I'm
yes,
going to bring
please.
him to Colorado
Please.
to see how we do things at Tribe, because he wants to put a judicial track in that.
Absolutely.
Military service is so much needed for men and women and for the service. You know, it's a trick out there, our listeners that are listening. You know, it's not a Medicaid track, it's a TRICARE, TRI-West type of situation. Exactly. It's very tricky. VA has to very much protect our service people, because people that outside influences and outside privatary agencies sometimes tend to abuse those insurance policies, and then they have to lock it up a little bit and then bring it back in-house. You know, so we really need to do a better job as providers to make sure that we are giving those proper services out there to our military that come home. Because, you know, I don't know if you've ever been into any problem-solving court, just like this young lady just stated, sitting in the front in a sundress with a gun. They either go hard or go home. There's no really a misdemeanor about it.
There's not.
It's triple 70 felonies in one case. You know, I was talking to Brian. He was just talking about, he was so mad the other day that just putting cement in the back of a truck, and the guy didn't do it how he wanted to, and he almost ripped him out of the forklift.
Yeah.
It was that quick with his TBI and his reaction.
TBI, exactly. So
What is TBI?
That is a brain injury,
yes,
traumatic
brain injury.
Gotcha.
And PTSD is very much like that. So I have problems with my short-term memory and things that I really am very getting better aware of. ADHD, I thought that was just a hyper kid running around. No, it's how you cannot follow through with tasks and things like that. So those are some good things that happened, was the diagnosis. So then I know how to help myself get better.
Yes.
But before I went to Harmony, I forgot to mention this, I worked with 6 counties, so I was the only representative at the time for veteran suicide awareness. So that was also part of it that put me over the edge, is that there are so many of them that that aren't being saved, that are not getting the resources that they need, that are not getting the medical help. They're just saying, you know what, we're gonna send you home, come back, or get a hold of your therapist. Well, you know, you talk to a Vietnam vet that's up in the middle of northeastern Colorado, where is he going to see a therapist? The closest hospital is over an hour away. Some of them do not even have smartphones, there's apps for everything. Well, some still have landlines. And you know, the thing is that I saw every age that I could, you know, from kids that are just coming home to the Korean, all of it. So I think the stigma for ones that did not think or did not believe or didn't understand PTSD, and the fact of alcoholism happens, the drug addiction happens, the you know, everything, even heroin and meth. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, if you have a veteran that has a tooth that's infected, where are they going to go to get help when some of them can't drive? And then you start getting that, how are they going to numb this pain? I mean, that sounds so silly, but it happens all the time. And I learned that in my job before I was standing in the field with a gun to my head.
See, that's him right there. And
Yes.
we'll get you with him.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
He's got a new book. It's called Cleared Hot. We got to get him on the show.
I love it.
Trauma and Triumph.
That's crazy, and you were just with him
Yes,
last
it's
night.
meant to be.
It's so wild.
It's meant
Just
to.
with him
Yeah.
last night.
I love it.
He wants to do. He bought a hospital. In Utah.
I just,
You know what I mean?
it's
and
wonderful.
It's for the military. It's going to be ran by military vets.
I just think I think that is amazing. And the thing with so many vets, since we're on that subject, and because I am one, and it is a big part of my disease and things, everybody talks about the stigma. Well, there is a stigma. I mean, you know, you start to hear that so often, like, let's break the stigma, you know, well, everybody. No, there is a stigma, because I was not going to put disabled veteran plates on my car because I didn't think I deserved that. And I was 100% service-connected disabled. You know, things like that, that I had spoke to so many people, because I had 6 counties.
So you stigmatize yourself.
I did. Why wouldn't I? Because I was abused. But did I cause that abuse? Was it because, you know, I was drinking, or my girlfriends and I were out doing things, you know, and so I blamed myself.
You know, I still get that. There's 2 establishments in Las Vegas right now, and I'm not even gonna, I had a couple of friends, even one of my attorney, that I can't even go into because of my tattoos and how I look. Basically blocked my entry. They don't even know what I do for a living. Gang affiliation, you know, they blocked
Judging
me.
you.
Judging me for gang
Book bias.
tattoos and affiliation and possible menace, whatever's on their mind, you name it, it's in their computer, and my ID's flagged to go into the establishment. I can't do that anymore. You know, and it's going on today, and it's funny, you know, these 2 establishments are or this one particular that I'm not going to mention in blast, which I want to so bad, is the pot calling the kettle black on that. You know what I mean? The dumbest situation on earth on that, and it's funny that still today, drinking energy drinks, smoking cigars, doing nothing, not even participating in the things that happen in this place, walking out at a respectable hour, I still get thrown under the bus. But I'm okay with it today, because you know what, like how we were talking about at the beginning of the show, I really don't care what people believe in me, but I do gotta believe on what I care about myself.
Right.
Because I can be my worst enemy, like what you were just talking about, you know what I mean?
Me too.
So I really gotta learn how to love myself and not say mean things to myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And not allow, you know, because it creeps in, because the ones that love you, that tell you certain things, you start to believe those things, you know. That's how it would happen to me when I was younger, you know, those certain things that, the ones that you love so much that say certain negative things,
Yes.
kind of starts to become a part of you.
Right.
And then the ideologies of those things, you kind of just hold on to. So like, those great things about recovery is awesome. Like I always mention Nani, like I'll get that text. I'll get a text from a kid that I get, like my homeboy Corey Dion, he gives me a daily reading every morning. Crazy dude from Boston, he's from Southie. Crazy guy, you know, and he'll say the most repugnant stuff, if you call him. Like it's spiritual on the page, but like, you know, just if you know anybody from Boston, as soon as you call them, like, what's up, you la la la.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I do know.
And
my ex-husband is from Boston.
Yeah, so
or Worcester.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And it's that there, but you know he's in recovery, who jump on a plane with his last dollar if I call Corey. You know, and that's the beauty of recovery. Listeners, if you're not in recovery and you need to be in recovery, get in here, because I'm telling you,
you can make it.
It's the best place on earth. I have my whole family in this damn whole movement that saved my life. If you are at 7 in the morning right now, contemplating your life, and you're loaded, you have tears in your eyes, or you're a family member and you know somebody that needs help, call somebody now. Don't hesitate. Don't wait.
There's not time.
There's no time. You don't want to be, just like this lady just said, just like she just said, sitting in the middle of a yard with a pistol in your hand. She's not the first, she's not going to be the last.
Right.
She's not. Unfortunately, there will be many people that actually pull that trigger. You know what I mean? You got to pull the trigger the other way. You got to use the phone.
Yes, and that's what happened with me, was FaceTime. I think what you brought something up about the stigma. I was actually in the VA, and I had an older gentleman, and he was with, I'm assuming his wife possibly, or a female that was around the same age. And he said, well, I know why she's here. I know how she got here. To me. I know how, loud enough for me to hear. And I thought, what does that mean? And so his wife said, what are you talking about? He goes, it's the pretty ones. And I was sick. First off, I don't think I'm pretty. That's not what I'm saying. The second off is that he literally knew in his mind why I was at the VA. And that I'll never forget that. And about the pistol in the hand, one thing I can say, having suicidal ideations in my past, is that there are people that don't want to kill themselves. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to get a lot of slack, and the reason why I'm going to say that is because I've talked to people that actually were in the same, it's that 1 second choice where you cannot see one single beam of light in your world at that very second, that you did not have hope, you did not have recovery choices, you did not have tried, you did not have options. And it's that 1 second that you cannot take back. And if you can get a hold of somebody, I always say 1 second, if you can get a hold of them before that 1 second, because it is in that second. And in that second, I ended up FaceTiming my beautiful daughters, and I was out of my mind. And then now I'm so embarrassed that that happened, but I'm embarrassed that they had to see me. I'm saddened, not embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saddened that they had to see me like that. My husband, my current husband, is somebody that I went to high school with, and then we separated, went our separate ways. He went to play college ball, I went to the military, and we've been together now 15, let's see, Caden's now gonna be 20, so like 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So with having somebody that said, I'm going to find you help, you need help, I've got to get you help, and he is calling around, just a country boy from Indiana, and I love you, David, if you're listening to this, but trying to tell them this is the insurance that I have, how can I help my wife?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not gonna take no, I need her to get in there today.
That's love.
And to do that for me. Knowing
And not to force you, to assist you.
to assist me, I knew I had to go.
You know, because I'm not big on forcing people. I don't think it works in the long term. But assisting, yeah,
Assisting.
that's why I try to tell these people. You're a family member, you got a loved one or something.
Yes.
Assist.
Assist
Don't
them.
force. Don't force. Assist.
Yes,
Yeah.
because at that point, if somebody would have told me that that's what I needed to do, if somebody would have
Yeah.
said, you're so effed up and and you're ruining the family and stuff, I would not have cared that they said that.
Yeah.
I would have resented them for saying that to me.
Yeah, you know, my mom did it all the time.
Oh,
Ruining
my
the family.
God.
I'm like, well,
We are not
what I
meaning
understood
to.
is y'all were ruined before I was born. So, like,
You're a jerk.
I'm an addition.
Yeah.
I'm an addition to it.
Yeah.
I'm just carrying the flame here.
Right,
You know what I mean? She used to get mad at me saying stuff like that, but I get it, you know, but,
yeah,
you know, just
But they couldn't
the thing-
force you.
no.
You know, I've done,
Absolutely
you know,
not.
not to toot my own horn, but I mean, 36 states, I've done a lot of interventions. I've done over 200-300 interventions. It's easy.
That's wonderful.
And it's just patience and listening. Shut the hell up, listen, let them get it out. They're gonna run, they're gonna kick, they're gonna scream. Just let them get exhausted. And then my favorite thing is I just laugh the way I do it. Like, done yet? Done yet?
Do you believe in intervention? Do you believe it works?
I believe the way I do things, I don't do the big family, lock the car in the driveway, let's do the family letters and all that stuff. I go right in the midst of the situation. I pray to my higher power to speak for me, and I have conversations. I have the first conversation. Maybe I got to come back. I have the second conversation. You know, sometimes it's on the first one and they're ready to roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First contact is a phone call. But the first time in person, I know that I got a shot to do something. You just kind of know it's not a.
But I feel like your intervention is an influence them, a communicate with them, open their mind.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
gotta-
a,
you
it's
gotta
not a
be-
here I am and this is the
You're going.
intervention
Yeah, they
and
gotta
I'm
build
putting you in the
trust.
back seat and I'm taking you to a place
Yeah.
you're being locked up
They
for
gotta
30
build
days.
trust, you know.
No.
That doesn't
Yeah, I don't show up
I
in suits
I
and
agree.
stuff. They got to build trust because where I'm meeting them at is like, you know, the places where I did it was like in Boyle Heights, Riviera Beach, Miami, Trenton, New Jersey. You know what I mean? The middle of LA and in Skid Row. You know, I'm going to places where nobody else will go, and I'm just sitting with them downtown Denver, off 13th in a laddie.
It's amazing
You know,
what you can do by just
you know,
talking
just
to
sitting.
somebody.
You know,
Yes.
you know, you got different kinds of currency there. You don't know how far socks and underwear goes. Fresh socks and underwear. You know, $1 can buy you a conversation. $5 can buy a meal, maybe a beer for them. $10 can feed them. $20 is cool. $50, $100 can get you killed or get them killed, or it could kill them with some dope.
Yeah.
So you got to watch giving so much money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But resources, all that kind of stuff. You know, there's a lot of different ways to do interventions, but it's really building trust. Once you got that trust, no matter how high they are, you know, sometimes if they're too erratic, you gotta gear back down, chill out, get them some coffee in them, you know. And sometimes people just ain't ready. They ain't ready if they're racing too hard. Give them your card, but like, you know where to get a hold of me. Then you just come back, like, what's up, man? You ready? You ready? No, you ain't ready. Let's go. You ain't ready. You know, but you don't box them in. Like, I see some of that stuff on TV. Like, man,
I've never been a fan of interventions, but yours is not the way I envision intervention, and so yours I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
But hey man, we're just here. You're gonna come with us because we're tired of this, and we're locking you in the car, and we're taking
I
you down.
It's
I
about
did the
that.
kid ones. Have you ever heard of the kid ones that go to like Teen Challenge and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the parents sign over the rights. And I have a big old Samoan friend that's in recovery, and you got pain in the butt kids, and we just basically kick the bed at 12 at night and wake them up.
Take them.
Be like, your bags are packed, your mom's packed your bags, get up, get in the car. This paper says, boy, you coming with me.
I might have a different view for those under 18.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more open.
You know, and that's-
a little bit more open to
you
that.
know,
But
you
I'm just
take
not a
them.
fan of intervention.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want it, it doesn't work.
Exactly, but you know, like my type of intervention, you know, I have a thing that I say to them when you call me, I take my hat off, they see my tattoos, like, if you didn't sit in front of me, a man with a tattoo on his head, you effed up in life, man. If I'm your last resort, if I'm your last resort in life, there ain't much left, homie.
If Tomas
Get in the car.
If Tomas shows up,
Yeah.
you
Tomas
best
is
Get in
sitting
the
in
car,
front of
man.
you.
get in.
Yeah,
You
this
see
is-
Tomas
this is
Hernandez
good.
at your
Yeah, this
house,
is the last house on the block.
Just
you've
listen.
reached rock bottom.
Yeah, there ain't no preacher, there ain't no pastor, there ain't no doctor. The only doctor that's left
You
is
see
the
Tomas's pretty face.
Yeah.
It's pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Not his face, the situation.
You
Yeah,
know,
the situation.
you mentioned
Man,
rock.
I'm sexy, man. I don't know what he's
I said
talking
not your face. I said the situation's pretty ugly. Stacy.
You mentioned rock bottom, and what I believe oftentimes with the interventions, and I too, it would not have worked for me. So I know what you think rock bottom is for me is not rock bottom for me,
Right.
possibly.
Right.
What you think, not you personally, you know that. What my family, you cannot, you know, you have reached rock bottom. Oh no.
Oh no, I could go further.
There's
Oh
more,
no,
but wait,
I
there's
have
more.
a couple fifths of vodka to go to for me to get
Boom,
out
she
into the
nailed it.
field, to get out into the field with no shoes on with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
I'm
used-
not rock bottom because I told somebody in my family something that, you know, told them off or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Or
my
I-
mom used to think rock bottom was I was going through all the wires I used to collect. Because first, I used to think you're always a cop when you had too many wires, so I take everybody's wires,
Oh
like cell
my
phone
Lord,
wires and all
oh
that
my
stuff.
God,
So I have a
that's
bag full of them.
hilarious. Yeah,
So I'd sort
she's
through
like-
the wires, and she didn't know I just started getting loaded. So I was sorting through the wires, like, oh my God, this is the rock bottom for you. I was like, I just started getting high. What you mean?
It's like this. Hold the phone.
Yeah,
You
this
ain't
is the
seen
beginning.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's just I think that if my children, if my husband, if my sister, because we lost both of our parents, so we're kind of orphaned in ways, we say that. If my half brothers, if my stepbrother was not enough for me to not walk out into that field, something was wrong deeper in my soul and in my psyche, and I have mental illness. I will have mental illness probably for the rest of my life. How I treat the mental illness, because those people whom I would die for, I was ready to die for a different way of my own selfishness, and they weren't enough. But yet I'd lay my life down for any of them. Explain that, you know? I was not thinking of my family, my son, who is a senior, whatever, getting ready in high school. I was not thinking of anything but the fact that I needed to stop what was happening and the pain of this mental illness. And the stigma with mental illness, I don't want to have to get this beeped out, but it can
Go ahead.
happen to anybody. You can be a doctor, you can be a janitor, you can be whatever. There are things where you just know that things are not right, where you might have anxiety, where you might literally be paranoid and you're keeping yourself in your room. You might be angry at everything that's going on in the world, and so you are starting to become full of rage. Where if you go out and you are armed, you could do something to somebody and not even mean to, because your mind has put you into that situation.
Exactly.
That is where the stigma is real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not some fancy little stigma of mental illness. Let's everybody say that we can get help. Love it. But that's not me. I am like, this is what can happen to you. This is, you know, these are the resources that you can use now. Not that everybody needs to be nice and understand that people have mental illness. Yes, we do need to be nice, but that's not getting us anywhere in my way of
Yeah,
thinking.
they want to make
It's-
it less abrasive, so
It
it's more
has to be-
accessible, wordsmith it. because-
Yes.
But the truth of it, I agree with you, it's not. It's very dirty, it's
Messy,
it's
messy,
and we
ugly.
And you got to get to the root of it quick.
Right.
And you got to understand, your messy's not my messy to the next person.
That's
and
right.
You got to get ready to roll your sleeves up, put your boots on, strap them on, and get into it, because it's going to be a long ride.
Yes.
And mental health, just like recovery, is a lifelong journey.
It is.
It's a day-by-day, lifelong journey.
It is. I absolutely agree with you. And the fact that I have accepted that my brain is broken. My thinking is broken. People will disagree with me, but I know it is broken, because when I go there, it's broken. If I don't keep it in check and stay sober, it's broken. And I can be broken, but I can be beautiful. I can be broken, and I can hope the best for you and everything that you're working for, and mean it.
Absolutely.
I can be broken, and when I hear the story about the living facility tribe, right?
Right.
Yeah, I want to say tribal, so I didn't
Yeah.
want to say it wrong. I can be broken and love you for all of these years and follow what you went through. Be it stop smoking, be it whatever, and be happy for other people when they make those accomplishments in their lives. And I will be broken forever.
So the biggest difference from your 13 years that you spent and the 3 years that you've had now, what are some of the biggest blessings that you've had since that you have a recovery program now?
That is a great question, because in the 13 years, I was sober, but I wasn't working anything. I was working on Kennedy getting better. I was working on the miracle party that I started, which was the party for children with cancer, and hundreds and then 1,000 people would go to once a year. I founded that, you know, then I was a foster mom. Then I worked for the veteran suicide, you know, I was trying to help everybody else. I was helping my daughter because I had to, and that's what we needed to do. I was trying to help with the miracle party because I was starting to get lost and not working a program. So instead of drinking, I was doing the miracle party. I was starting to drink and working with the veterans suicide awareness. See what happened? I did not have a program. So what's the biggest blessing for me now is I'm aware, and I can say it, and it hurts, but I'm an alcoholic. And the first time I said it really was here on the show tonight. I'm an addict. I have an obsessive compulsive personality that if it's going to be all or nothing, I'm not going to just dabble. I'm going to go full force and not care if everybody else around me is going to die too. Thank God I didn't get into anything with fentanyl. Thank God I didn't get into heroin or meth. Not judging. I'm saying, had I tried it with my addictive personality, I would have been there. I wouldn't have stopped. So with this sobriety now, it's that I can admit who I am, not feel such terrible shame that I am a recovering and completely sober alcoholic and addict who wants to help others. I am 100% service-connected disabled, not because I want to be, but because other people did really bad things to me. I need to use that to help people, but in a healthy way. Help people when I can.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would throw myself full force into helping everybody else, and then I'd lose myself.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
Good for you.
you know, I have so much to share that if anybody ever wants to message me on Facebook or whatever, I have quite a following there just because of Kennedy's journey. So I don't think I can accept friend requests, but you can follow me or whatever. I don't know about that.
Reach out. is what
Reach
you're
out
saying.
is what I'm
Reach out.
trying to say.
Reach out.
I got all into that like way too much. Message me. I'm not gonna ask you anything personal. If somebody needs to message me
Need
that's
to
a
chat.
veteran or just needs some
Yeah,
resources,
follow's enough, build up the flow, build
get
that
to know
up.
that I can send
Yeah.
some links to you. Like I can send links.
That's amazing that you're available, you can't
Absolutely.
keep what you don't give away. I truly believe that since the beginning. It's one thing in 12 steps, I'm a 12-stepper that I did not follow. They told me that, hold up, you just can't just start helping people from the beginning. I mean, I wasn't gonna try to sponsor, but I'm gonna help you. I'm a grown ass man. I'm gonna help you and I'm gonna keep helping you. I have a motto, I'm gonna help while everybody else hesitates.
Yep.
I like that.
You can twiddle your thumbs, I'm
Yeah.
helping.
Hi, this is Sharing Our Stories. We're here every Sunday on your radio at 7 a.m. You can also find this program on YouTube. Please, if you are watching on YouTube, do subscribe, hit like, do all of that so that you get the alerts and that you catch the program whenever it is available. We're also on all your podcasting outlets, so if you're on Spreaker and so on and you want to grab this as a podcast, you can do that. Our guest today is Stacy K. Syphers from Colorado, and I want to thank you.
Absolutely.
Real quick before we wrap up, I want to apologize. When I did the miracle party for you for kids with cancer, I was still in my addiction, and I was suffering at that time. And I remember I had a really hard time hosting that because all I wanted to do was drink at your event.
Yes.
And I remember drinking there, and not, I didn't do anything inappropriate,
No.
but I wish that I had been sober when I was doing that event. So my apologies
Oh,
for
absolutely.
the state that I was in
Yes.
when you used to do
Oh,
the miracle
yes,
parties.
yes.
And if you ever bring that back, you sign me up to be your host, and I've got you in
Yes.
it.
Oh, I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, COVID kind of took that miracle party
Hey,
away.
I think you're a powerful woman to bring it back. All right.
And
I think you
I
can do
just
that.
had a lot to say, and I just have so many levels from childhood to the military to cancer mom to foster mom, where I have a lot
I
to
commend you.
say. So I'm
I
sorry I
commend
have
you.
to vomit that out.
No, I commend you. Thank you. Hi, this program is brought to you by Tribe Recovery Homes. We want to thank Nani and Tomas for all the work they do here in the Mile High and in Sin City now, and in Las Vegas soon to be opening to help people with recovery. If you are suffering and you need help, pick up the phone, call Tribe Recovery Homes. If they can't help you, they're going to put you in touch with somebody who can. It might be Harmony. You
Yeah.
might be a veteran or
Yeah,
a
yes.
first responder,
The
and they'll
best.
say, hey, we're going to get you out to Harmony. We know exactly who to call, all right? Give them a call, 720-60-TRIBE. That's 720-60-TRIBE for Tribe Recovery Homes. Also online, triberecoveryhomes.com. And finally, a special thanks to Caring for Denver. Caring for
Yes.
Denver is the organization that helps our recovery community here in the Mile High stay connected to better assist our Denver community. So thank you to Caring for Denver.
Caring for Denver.
Please share this program. Please help somebody you know who
Yes.
is suffering an addiction. And thank you so much for giving us your time today. This is Sharing Our Stories. I will see you again.
Peace.